Hi and welcome to the podcast. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Instagram as Skein and on Ravelry as K10, that's K10. Hope you're doing really well. Today is Thursday. It is a very nice sort of autumn day outside. It's a little bit sunny but still a little bit cool. It could be cooler. I wish. I'm actually really keen for winter to come. Even though the nights are a little bit cooler here, it's still quite warm during the day. As you can see, I'm sort of still in t-shirts. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that winter weather because I've got quite a few new knits that I'd love to wear, and yes, they're calling to me and I can't wear them and it's annoying. So yeah, I hope you're doing really well. I am again at home today. I thought this week I was going to be quite busy at work because I had a pre-order last week for the cruiser cardigan yarns, and even though we sold out of yarn, and I thought that because when people order, they order different colors and different amounts. I honestly thought this week I was going to be really busy, and it would take a couple of days to dye all that, but it only took 2 days, which was quite amazing. So I've got an extra day up my sleeve, and I could go in today I need to label some yarns for the update, which goes up tomorrow, but I am feeling a little bit tired this week, so I'm just going to take today off, do the podcast, edit it, put it up, and then just sort of chill out and knit. I'm definitely going to work tomorrow just to do the little bits and pieces, label the yarns and skein a few of the yarns for the pre-orders. But yeah, it's been a very nice, pleasant, calm week, which is great. I've noticed that there's quite a lot of traffic in Coffs Harbour. I'm wondering whether people are starting to come out a bit more because of the isolation with the COVID. They're not meant to, but it seems like people are, maybe it's the weather, coming out and enjoying the sun. Who knows? I'm still in isolation here. I haven't gone out, only just to do shopping and go to work. So yeah, I think we have another month of this. I think that's what the government has said. So is what it is. I would really love to be able to go out and do a bit of shopping, actually, because one thing is our couch broke. We have old couches and we've been talking about getting them replaced for a very long time, and the couch that Purl sits on, the bottom of the couch fell out. So it is currently, I'm looking at it, it's sitting on a paint can, so he can still sit on it, but yes, it needs to be replaced. We know what we're going to get. We've already gone and looked at them. We just haven't ordered the couch yet. So that'd be good to do that. But I mean, who cares? It's not really a life or death situation. We can do without it for a little while. Anyway, let's get on to knitting. So I don't have a huge amount of stuff to show you. I've only got 2 projects that I'm working on, but they've actually worked in tandem really well together. I've started another cruiser cardigan this time for me. I'm going to keep the one that I knit, the original, for a sample. So that will be at work, which is a bit of a shame because I love the colour of that. I love how it turned out. It's sort of a rusty, it's a bright orange mixed with a dark purpley brown. So it's saffron mixed with old rose, and together they combine to make this really lovely rust colour. And even though I would love to have that, I didn't want to knit with the same colours again, so I chose something a bit different. And I showed you this last week, although I hadn't done much. But this is it. So I've already attached the sleeves. And now I'm working down the body. It's kind of hard to show because I've got it on a smaller cable, but from now on it's pretty much just knitting the body straight with a couple of decreases each side I think it's every second row. So yeah, it's basically easy knit now. So this I'm using the Milky Way Uptown sock, which is our single ply, which is just a neutral with lots of pops of colour, and then just a plain grey, which is called Typo. And these two have combined to form a grey with speckles of colour, which is pretty much what I was hoping for. I thought it might have been a little bit darker, but I'm really happy with how this is turning out. And I love the process of knitting the sock yarn with the mohair. I love how you can change colours and get different effects using different colours, like mixing colours together. I particularly love using a semi-solid for one and then a speckled or a variegated for the other, and seeing how it mixes. That's what I did with the first one with the Cruiser. It was a semi-solid, very bright orange with a variegated mohair, and the variegated mohair does come out and speckle the semi-solid yarn. And with this one, the grey is actually kind of flattening out the speckles and yeah, making the undertone obviously grey, but you can still see the speckles underneath. I really like it. So I should, if I continue knitting on this, I should probably have this done by next week. I'll be very close to finishing it. So yeah, that's really cool. So like I said earlier, these two projects that I'm knitting on have been working really well together, because the top part, not the yoke, but the top section of this, there was a lot of short rows. There was quite a few things going on that you had to concentrate on. So when I was sort of watching podcasts or whatever, I would knit on this, and then at night when Paul and I would watch movies or watching episodes of things where I needed to have a little bit more attention, I would knit on this one. So this is the Rift Tee by Jacqueline Cieslak. And so far, this is all I've done. Well, actually it's quite a lot, but just the body. So it's a bottom up. So my other one's a top down, this is a bottom up, and it was great to work both of them together because this one required little attention while this one required quite a bit, and now it's sort of reversed. I'm getting to the point where I am going to be separating for the sleeves and starting to do a little bit more work on this one, and this one I can sort of zone out. So this will be my podcast knitting and this will be my nighttime knitting, so it works out really well. I really am enjoying this knit, which is, like I said, the Rift Tee. I am using the Viola / John Arbon collaborated yarn, which is a DK. It's 100% merino. It's buttery soft. It's absolutely beautiful. I think it's... Yeah, so this yarn is a 4-ply, and or is it 3-ply? No, it's a 3-ply yarn. It's beautiful. It's worsted spun or woolen spun, the one where it's a bit more fluffy. Woolen spun, I think it is. Anyway, it's beautiful, very, very soft, and I put a picture up on Instagram with a close-up of this yarn because it's mixed with a whole heap of different colours, but it's done very, very subtly, so you can, if you're looking really close up, you can see it. It sort of has like this lilac-y, pinky colour. There's a little bit of hint of bluey grey. yellow. It's really, really stunning yarn. So Viola, I love Viola yarn. And like I said last time when I was talking about it, she did leave dyeing for a little while because we started at about the same time dyeing yarn. And I really loved looking at what she was doing, and then she stopped for a while and went to the UK and worked with John Arbon at his mill, and this is where this yarn comes from. And then she went back to Canada and opened up her dyeing studio again, and I was really glad to see that. So if you ever get a chance to try her yarn, please do. It's beautiful. She dyes beautifully, and yeah. So yeah, really, really happy. I don't know if you can see the colour. Yeah, maybe. There's all little flecks of different colours. It's beautiful. So it's very, very basic design. I like the way that Jacqueline has added instructions to fit the t-shirt to your specific body. So if you have a bigger bust, she has bust darts that you can add, which is a really good idea. I won't be needing, I don't have a big bust, so I don't need to put bust darts in, so I'm just going to be knitting up to the underarm. She also has a section where the t-shirt, where the bicep measurement is, if your sizing of your bust does not measure the same on the schematic as your bicep, as in the size, I don't know if that makes sense, but she's given instructions on how to actually increase the stitches for the bicep, which is really clever too. So yeah, it's very size inclusive, which is what she's all about. And I think it's good too. It's a good learning experience for people to actually knit a pattern and know how to use gauge to alter things that may not fit properly. Anyway, one thing that I didn't realise is that the rift tee had a little detail that runs up the side. I don't know why I didn't even notice that. It also has a beautiful little split hem. The back side is a bit longer than the front. There's really nice twisted stitches for the hem. Yeah, it's going to be really nice to wear. I did have decided on making it a short sleeve because I'm going to be able to wear it more here in Coffs Harbour. And yeah, I mean, I'm ripping through both of these projects, so I feel like this may be done next week or be close to, so, which is really exciting because I just want to cast on everything. I have that autumn, I always get it every year where it starts to get a bit cooler and I just want to cast everything on. I start looking through stash and looking at colours and yarns that I might want to knit with, and starting to do a bit of project planning. So I have a couple of yarns in my stash that I want to start knitting with. I have the Pirate Pearls yarn that I was talking about last week, which I did a Ravelry search on, as in like pattern search, because I have in my head what I would like to knit with that, but I couldn't find what I wanted, so I might be casting on just a new design maybe, or like just trying to figure out something that I want. Basically what I want to do, it's a polo silk, pretty sure, was it DK or Sport? Anyway, I have 2 dark grey and 1 light grey, and I'd like to do a colour block where I have the light grey up the top and the dark grey down the bottom, and I just want something very simple and basic, but something that shows off the yarn. So I think I might come up with something for that on my own. I will see. I also have some yarn that I'm putting on the shop this week, which is the Merino Silk and Yak. This is a fingering weight yarn that I've just recently gotten in for the shop, it's very, very lovely. Yak is quite expensive, unfortunately, so the price point of this is a little bit higher than normal. But the good part about it is that it is fingering weight, so you don't need as much as if it was a DK. And I would really like to knit something with this. I actually looked on Ravelry yesterday, and because I was putting together the email for this week's update, and I always try and put a few pattern suggestions and then a link to a custom search that I do on Ravelry, so people can go and look at patterns, because sometimes it is hard to, especially with yarn with interesting mixes like this, it's hard to kind of visualize what you want to make or what would be a good pattern. And one of the patterns that came up was an Isabell Kraemer design, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put a little photo in and the name. It's actually a top, and at the back there's a bit of detail, and at the front it's just sort of a plain top. So that's one that I have my eye on that I might want to make. There was also a cardigan which looked really nice as well. So I have 3 colours that I am in love with from the update. I love them all, but these ones really appeal to me. This one is called Atomic, and on normal bases, like normal white bases, this one comes across as very bright. It's very bright apricot overtone, and then undertone you have this like really bright pink. But because the base is a very medium toned browny grey, it actually makes the colours a lot more richer and darker, and it shifts the colours a little bit. So with this one in particular, it comes out this sort of blushy pink with a very sort of like a brighter pink underneath. It's really, really pretty. So this was one choice. This one is silver bark, and it hasn't changed as much because normally it's just a grey brown, so that's just what it's dyed up as. It's a little bit richer. And then this one is pure gold. This one normally isn't as brown. It's actually a little bit lighter, a little bit more golden, but on this base it sort of dyes up yeah, sort of rusty. It's really, really pretty. So I'm going to choose one of these and then take a couple of skeins out and think about what I want to knit with them. It's really, really beautiful. It's a really nice summer yarn or spring yarn because it's sort of got that coolness. When you touch it, you can really feel the cool silk, because it has that feeling. It's like bamboo has the same feeling as well. It's like that cool touch. Whereas when you touch merino, instantly your hands feel warm. So yeah, be interesting to see what I do. It's also a lot of the bases that I looked at for this kind of blend were a single ply, and I love single ply yarns, but I particularly love plied yarns for sweaters and tops if they're going to be used on their own. For the cruiser cardigan, I used the single ply, but I also added the mohair, so that gives it a little bit more strength and sort of wears a little bit better. But because this yarn has a higher price point, you don't want to be adding other yarn to it because it sort of makes the project very expensive. So yes, if you're going to knit with this yarn on its own, it is nice to have a ply. I think this is 4 plies too. Just check. 1, 2, no, it's 3 plies. But the plies are actually quite tight. It's a quite firm twist, so it would actually wear quite well. So yeah. Now the giveaway from last week, I was giving away the cruiser cardigan pattern along with the yarn, and I did draw a winner. and I'll just get the winner's name. So I really enjoyed reading everybody's books, knitting books, and one that came out a lot of people recommended was the cast on bind off, and I was pretty sure when because I searched the book on Google, and the photo that I saw, I thought I'm pretty sure I have that in my stash somewhere. And I went and had a look and I couldn't find it, so I don't have it. Maybe I was thinking about buying it but never bought it. So I am going to definitely order that within a week or two, because that's really, really handy to have, particularly if you're designing or interested in designing. Something like that is so handy. A lot of people also recommended the Nikki Epstein Knitting Beyond the Edge. I have that book and I love that book. There was a few Elizabeth Zimmerman books. What's the Principles of Knitting, who I can't think of the name of the author. I have that book, and actually that reading those posts reminded me that I should actually get that down out of my book case, which is actually in the spare room, and I should flip through that, because that's like a wealth of information. If you've ever seen it, it's huge. Like, it's a massive book, and it's certainly, if you're into knitting and yeah, you want to know more about it, that's certainly the book to have. What else was there? There's lots and lots of people writing about books that they love, and it was just so good. I should actually compile all that and put it into a blog post. But if you haven't read the comments, that was, what episode was that? I can't even remember. The one before this one. Yeah, read through the comments and have a look, because there's a lot of good suggestions. Oh, and also Vogue. I think it was Principles of Knitting. No, that was the other one. It was the Vogue one, which I can't think of what it was called now, but that came through a lot. Lots of people recommended that. Anyway, it's Vogue Knitting, the Ultimate Knitting Book, because Rebecca Hawken is the winner. So that's the book that she recommended, that she loves. So Rebecca, if you can contact me either on Ravelry, Instagram, email, it doesn't matter, wherever, and let me know. I'll need to know what colours you want, so I can dye them up for you, and how many skeins you need. So contact me and we'll arrange that. So this week I do have another prize. I actually have in the shop, well, it's actually not on the website at the moment, but I took them to Bendigo last year. I have the knitting ruler bracelets, which are made out of leather. I should have brought mine down. I'll go get it. So this is it here. And it's by Ilovehandles, and it wraps around the wrist a couple of times, and then there's a little button, which when you first get the ruler, the button to push in, this little bit here, is really stiff, so it takes a little while for that to soften up. But once you get it used to going in the buttonhole, then it's actually quite easy. But yeah, this was the lightest natural, but when you wear them they actually darken. So I have one of these to give away. I have 3 different colours. I have a light, a medium and a dark natural, and then I have a red. So my question this week is, what's your favourite knitting tool? What's the thing that if you were on a desert island you couldn't live without? And I think I would have to say the 2 things that I use the most would be my ruler, which is why I thought this would be a good prize, because I actually have used this when I've been in the car knitting, when we've been away. And it is leather, so it does stretch a little bit, but at least you can get some idea, particularly when you're knitting socks, like how far you've got to go with your knitting, so it's handy to have. So yeah, ruler would be one thing, and the other thing would be stitch markers. I use stitch markers all the time. I guess as a little bonus too, if they're handmade tools, Put down also the place that you buy them from. Like if you have a favorite Etsy place where you buy stitch markers, or some maker of some sort. Like if you can't do without bags for knitting, project bags, then where do you get your project bags from? That sort of thing. So it'd be good to yeah, highlight the makers, I guess. I also have stitch markers, which I do buy often from Etsy, and I actually bought some nice stitch markers and I bought them into the shop from Katrinkles. They're great. They're in the States. So yeah, we will do that as a prize. So put your comments below. And I feel like I'm out of breath. I ran upstairs to get this and I didn't give myself a moment to catch my breath. Anyway. So yes, it's 11:30 here in the morning. I might go and make another cup of coffee, even though I've already had two. Kind of feel like I might need another one. I might go sit in the sun and do a little bit of knitting. Anyway, so I hope you're all doing really, really well, and I will see you next week. So take care, and yeah, talk to you soon. Bye.